Hey, welcome into TCAM's Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Tracewell. This podcast, we talk about sports events, topics, and players. Come follow our Facebook and Instagram page. Facebook is TCAM's Sports Podcast, and the Instagram page is TCAM_sports_podcast. Shows will be posted when they go live, and even some bonus episodes will be posted during the week. Normal episodes are posted Fridays at 5. Comment your thoughts on the shows. Leave some topics you would like for me to discuss on the show. Thank you for tuning in. Now on to the episode.
Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Swung on a miss. Strike three. Johan Santana has pitched the no-hitter.
Anthony's going to try and get one more shot off for half court of the buzzer. Oh, he puts it in. Mark Messier. Do you believe it? Do you believe it?
Today we are going to discuss a little bit about the NHL playoffs. We're going to talk about maybe some of the NBA, not really going to hop too much into it, but we're just going to talk about the play-in tournament and then the NHL playoffs. To start out with, Scottie Scheffler has won the Masters. Scottie Scheffler is the best golfer on the planet. The guy's absolutely incredible. You know, for a guy who came into this, was kind of worried that his wife would go in labor, I didn't know if he'd have the mindset to really play, great in the Masters because he was too worried about his wife. However, Scottie Scheffler just shows up and led the Masters, and he kind of just, was running with it for a little bit. I mean, wasn't really trying to pull ahead, and then Max Homa got involved, and these other guys got involved, and were pushing him at the last day of the Masters, and he just took off from there on out and looked unbeatable. I mean, nobody could stop him. So, congratulations to Scottie Scheffler, two-time Masters champion. What an incredible weekend at the Augusta National. One of the best times of the year. Gonna miss it. Love when it's here. Can't wait for it to be back. It'll be back real soon. But, incredible for Scottie Scheffler. Tiger Woods had a fall off this weekend. Played good on Thursday and Friday. Fell off Saturday and Sunday. But, completed his tournament 24 consecutive times he's made the cut in the Masters, which is absolutely incredible. So I'm happy to see he's back in the game. Hopefully he keeps playing the next couple upcoming tournaments. Hopefully we see him in the PGA Championship coming up, see him in the BMW Championship, maybe the FedEx St. Jude Championship. We'll be able to see him. I'd like for him to play in those tournaments. That's really special, but congratulations to Scottie Scheffler, and what a great tournament the Masters was. Going into the other sports, the NHL and the NBA, here we go, man. The playoffs are inbound, and there's a lot to talk about. This is a huge discussion, so we're going to go into the more fun playoff. I know everybody would say the NBA is more fun because it's more popular, but I think the NHL is more fun because everybody has a chance. So I'm just going to read off the teams as of right now of today that are in the playoffs. The Eastern Conference is not finished out. They will not be finished out till probably Thursday or Friday, but for right now, we are just going to talk who's already been decided to be in. In the Eastern Conference Atlantic, the Boston Bruins, the Florida Panthers, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are the three teams in that division of the conference that are in. In the Metropolitan is the New York Rangers, the Carolina Hurricanes, and is right now the New York Islanders. Possibly could be the Philadelphia Flyers or the Pittsburgh Penguins. We don't know if those teams are going to make it yet, but however, the Islanders are leading it. In the wild card spot, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals. Now, the Red Wings could make noise and take that from the Caps since they're right neck and neck with each other, but we'll see how that's going to turn out. And the Western Conference has already been decided. So for in the Western Conference, we have the Dallas Stars, who are the number one in the Western Central. Then we have the Jets, who are second. Then we have the Colorado Avalanche. In the Pacific, we have the Canucks. Then we have the Edmonton Oilers, and we have the LA Kings. And then in the wild card spot, we have the Nashville Predators, who we didn't think were going to be in this tournament this year, and they've come on later in the season and have played great. So they're the number one wild card spot. And we have the defending champions, the Vegas Golden Knights, who we thought would be better this season and are not that great this season. They're not very dominant. They're a wild card spot. There's a lot better teams than them this year. So why are we talking about the NHL first? Because the NHL is, I would say, the most competitive playoff between the two. A number one seed can beat a number, say, 8 seed, right? Or an 8 seed can beat a number 1 seed. It doesn't really matter. The Florida Panthers played the Boston Bruins last year. The Boston Bruins had a historic season, had one of the best seasons ever. we all predicted they were probably going to play the Vegas Golden Knights in the finals, and guess what? The Panthers played the Golden Knights, and the Panthers dominated the Bruins. They won 3 straight games. They played absolutely incredible. They were absolutely dominant in that first round go round. The Panthers were the last seed. They were a wild card seed. They were the number 2 wild card seed, and they dominated the Boston Bruins. So it was nice to see. And it's so competitive and so much fun, and the hype and the level, and it goes crazy, and people go crazy. And really, I'm excited. I'm so excited to see the NHL playoffs back. It's going to be so much fun on ESPN Plus, by the way. Absolutely incredible. Everybody loves that. But, however, early predictions on who's going to be in the conference finals for each. In the Western Conference, I'm going to pick the Dallas Stars. I think they're going to be the number 1 team that's in there, and the Edmonton Oilers. And I picked the Edmonton Oilers to go to the finals in the Western Conference. I think Connor McDavid and them need a win. I think Connor McDavid's the best hockey player in the world, and I think he needs a chance to be in the Stanley Cup Finals. It'd be incredible to see, but that's an incredible matchup with the Stars. A sleeper team to watch out for. A lot of people would say the Kings. Some people would say, obviously, the Predators are going to be a team for everybody to watch because they're going to be highly competitive. I don't think the Golden Knights will be one, but I think the Colorado Avalanche are going to be in there. The Avalanche won 2 years ago, and after the embarrassment loss they took in the playoffs last year, I think they're really going to want to push it this year and actually show up again. So everybody just watch out for Colorado. They could be a sleeper team in the Western Conference to show up. In the Eastern Conference, everybody's going to go with the Bruins because they're obviously dominant. They have a great dominant team, just like they did last year. However, I don't know if that's going to be enough for them. Same with the Rangers. The Rangers were good last year, but is it going to be enough? I'm not too sure. In the Eastern Conference, I would go with the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs, I love the Maple Leafs in the playoffs. I think they are so much fun. They're a team that, might not always be able to accomplish everything, but they can accomplish something. And I think they might be able to finally get a breakthrough. Every single year, we want the Maple Leafs to break through, and they never do. But they got to break through sometime. They're always getting to the playoffs, and I love to see the Maple Leafs, absolutely dominate. Same with the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes could be the same way. They could dominate. They should have dominated last year. They should have been in the finals over the Panthers last year, but they weren't. They should have been there, but they weren't. And I think, the Hurricanes can make noise. The Lightning obviously could make some noise. But I feel, really the team that would be excited for if they make the playoffs would be the Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings were favored to pick the wild card early on in the season. They were favored to be a playoff team. They were supposed to be better this year. They have been better this year. And it would be so much fun to see them over the Caps in the playoffs. I would love to see the Red Wings in the second wildcard spot to be able to take that. That would be so much fun to me, and I think it'd be so interesting to see. I think people love that, really, because Detroit, really, looking across the board, their football team has done great, right? They made the NFC Championship game. Their basketball team, they haven't been good since the early 2000s, and the Detroit Pistons have been struggling, but the Red Wings to be in there, that would be nice. Detroit Tigers, their baseball team. Listen, Detroit sports is really coming up. But can we say Detroit sports are terrible? The Lions are good, the Tigers ain't bad, and the Red Wings ain't bad. The only team that's bad is the Pistons. Look at Chicago. The Bears are bad, the Bulls are bad. The Cubs are probably the best team. The Blackhawks are terrible, and the White Sox are not very good. So Chicago might be the worst sports town right now. So everybody needs to quit hating on Detroit. Chicago's probably the worst sports town. Even though Chicago's future with the Bears right now is looking great, that's a story for another day. We're not talking about the Bears next year. We're talking about the Bears last year. The Bears last year weren't very good. The Bulls last year, they're not very good. They're subpar average. The White Sox are not very good. The Cubs are pretty decent. The Blackhawks are terrible. So, long another story for another day. We'll get on Chicago. We've already been down that road with Chicago. Yeah, so that is what it is. To highlight something right before we jump into the NBA, Alex Pierre won UFC 300 against Hill and knocked him out in the first round. Alex Pierre is just dominant, and he wants to fight a heavyweight fight. This dude's insane. He really is. He fight the light heavyweight, now he wants the heavyweight. This dude is pretty much insane. Jamal Hill didn't really stand a chance. Another person that lost was Charles Oliveira. Oliveira, everybody thought he would win, and Armin's submitting. And it was crazy to see that. Just kind of took him down and submitted him. And, crazy UFC 300. So that was a great matchup. Future prediction we'll talk about here, and future talk a little bit. UFC 303 coming up here in June. Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. That's going to be fun. Everybody's excited to see Conor McGregor come back. That's going to be absolutely exciting. I love it. Love Michael Chandler and him. Going to be watching that one. We'll talk about that more down the road. That's going to be a blast. All right, so now let's jump into the NBA playoffs. This is where we want to talk, right? Everybody wants to talk about the NBA playoffs. And the NBA season just ended. So I'll just go through the standings real quick so we already know the seedings. So we'll talk about the Eastern Conference. The number 1 spot, the Celtics. Number 2 is the Knicks. Number 3 is the Bucks. Number 4 is the Cavs. Number 5 is the Orlando Magic. Number 6 is the Indiana Pacers. Number 7 is the Philadelphia 76ers. Number 8 is the Miami Heat. Number 9 is the Chicago Bulls. And number 10 is the Atlanta Hawks. That is your Eastern Conference right now. In your Western Conference, you have the Oklahoma City Thunder as the number 1. The number 2 would be the Denver Nuggets. The number 3 is the Minnesota Timberwolves. The number 4 is the LA Clippers. The number 5 is the Dallas Mavericks. The number 6 is the Phoenix Suns. The number 7 is the New Orleans Pelicans. The number 8 is the Los Angeles Lakers. The number 9 is the Sacramento Kings. And the number 10 is the Golden State Warriors. That is your Western Conference. Super exciting. Super exciting the playoffs are coming up. Teams we did not expect to be in their position ranks right now. We did not expect Oklahoma City Thunder to be the number 1 team in the Western Conference. Absolutely thrilled. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, all these guys are absolutely incredible. It was so awesome to see them this year. Shai is a beast. He's a beast player. Glad to see Oklahoma City in this position. Minnesota, Karl-Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, and Rudy Gobert with Mike Conley, and then we did not expect them to be the number 3 spot. Exciting to see, right? Same with Dallas, Luka and Kyrie. We expected better from Phoenix. They're number 6, but we expected better with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, but it is what it is. New Orleans Pelicans, 7th seed. Still respectable. Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. Shouldn't be anybody to sleep on in the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference, Orlando Magic. Everybody should be proud of the Orlando Magic and the Indiana Pacers immediately, because both franchises, we didn't think they were going to be this far up in the playoffs, and they are great. The Orlando Magic have had a great season, 47-35. They are incredible, 29-12 at home. They're a little rough on the road, 18-23 for the Magic. For the Pacers, they're 26-15 at home, and they're 21-20 on the road. Overall, incredible seasons for both. Both didn't have to play the play-in tournament. They're already in the playoffs. So then now we can talk about the play-in. For the Eastern Conference, we'll start out with the Philadelphia 76ers, the Miami Heat, the Chicago Bulls, and the Atlanta Hawks. Looking across at it, the 76ers will have to play the Heat first. And I'm going to pick the 76ers to win that game. They will be the 7th seed. Joel Embiid just got back. He would be the MVP if he played this season. And I would pick Joel Embiid to win that series. In the 9 and 10, I pick Chicago. Chicago will beat Atlanta. Atlanta will go home first. They will be the first team to go home. And then it will be Miami versus Chicago for the 8th seed. And I think Chicago will win. I like Miami. I like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. They always find a way to win with Tyler Herro. But I would like to see DeMar DeRozan, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, and those boys get a win. I think it'd be fun to see Chicago win. I know Chicago won't be very competitive versus the Celtics, and maybe Miami might be. But I would like to see somebody other than Miami. I'd like to see Chicago. I think Chicago needs a playoff run. I know I just talked about a few minutes ago, how they have been subpar, which they really have because they're in a play-in tournament. They're the 9th spot. They really shouldn't have a play-in tournament. However, 39-43, not a great season, subpar. But it'd be kind of cool to see the Celtics. Maybe they can get a game. Maybe they can win a game. Be nice to see. City of Chicago needs a playoff run of some sort. They need some type of playoff. It'd be nice for them to have at least 2 home playoff games. So the City of Chicago needs that. So 76ers, Chicago Bulls for the Eastern Conference would be my pick. In the Western Conference, we have the New Orleans Pelicans and the Los Angeles Lakers. That's your first matchup. The 7th and 8th spot. Who's going to win the 7th spot? I'm going to go with the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, and Jonas Valanciunas, I think, are too much for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. How much, we all love LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They're super talented guys. D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, pretty deep roster, and they're a good group of guys. I just think this young, talented team with Zion, he's on a mission right now. And I think Zion healthy is an absolute superstar. He could drop 30 in his sleep. So, to me, I would rather see Zion battle and get the 7th seed and face off against Denver. I prefer him against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I wish they'd had the 6th spot, but it is what it is. They're going to have to probably face Denver. If they lost and gave to the Lakers would have to face Denver, and they would have to face the Oklahoma City Thunder, which it's a bad matchup for anybody facing those two teams right now, especially Denver. The Denver's defending champs. I think it's the hardest to take them out. For the 9th and 10th spot, it's the Kings versus the Warriors. I think the Warriors are going to win that. The Kings don't have any defense, but the Warriors might have some defense. Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, I think they can predict some type of defense to be able to stop the Kings. Kings have incredible offense, but they have no defense. Something they were good at, pretty decent at last year, and they weren't good at this year. So I think Golden State will win their game against the Kings. I think the Pelicans will win their game against the Lakers, which will leave the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. So coming into the 8th spot, I think the Lakers will beat the Golden State Warriors in a one-on-one game. I think LeBron James and Anthony Davis beat the Golden State Warriors and will face up against Shai and Chet Holmgren against the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round, which could be really interesting because the Lakers kind of do have some size and they're going to have the experience over the Oklahoma City Thunder, so they could make some noise in the first round. I would rather see the Lakers play the Oklahoma City Thunder than I would them rather play the Denver Nuggets because they're going to get absolutely shut out if they play Denver. They can't ever play Denver well. The Lakers never play Denver well. LeBron and AD never play Denver well, but they can play Oklahoma City pretty well. They actually match up fairly well against Oklahoma City. So I think that's perfect for them. And, we'll get more into playoff depth here soon. There's awesome playoff talk to be talked about. Orlando and Cleveland, that's going to be a fun matchup. Clippers, Dallas, it's going to be an incredible matchup. Your 4 and 5 spots are always your best matchups. But this is going to be an incredible playoff run. I think the NHL will be a little bit better, but NBA is going to be fun. I don't talk about Boston. I'm not going to talk about Boston and the Bucks. I think they're going to win in the first round. But, however, it's going to be an incredible playoff series, and it's going to be fun. And we'll get deeper down the road, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. The countdown. So I talked about it recently. The countdown is now back on YouTube, and we just filmed our first virtual episode. We talked about WrestleMania 40. Talked about Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, the story, man. What an absolute incredible showdown that was. Everybody was so excited to see that. WrestleMania 40 is special. WrestleMania is going in the right direction. Logan Paul could be a huge story for the future. We could see what they're going to do with The Rock and Cody Rhodes. Now Cody Rhodes is going to have to be the defending guy. Let's see what he could do. Let's see what that storyline's going to break. Let's see what Triple H is going to bring to the show. And for them to bring back guys like The Undertaker during WrestleMania is absolutely special. People were excited. It was fun. It was great. The clips were awesome. It was fun to watch. I was so happy to see it happen. So we talked a little bit about WrestleMania 40, and we did cover a little bit about the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs. We both talked about the series a little bit, but I just want to come on here and give my own little perspective. If you want to hear that perspective of me and Hunter and what Hunter's prediction was, please go to the Countdown 96.3 on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch that. Or you can find us on TikTok at the Countdown 96.3. And, just check out the clips. Check out, see what we're saying. Go see the YouTube channel. Man, this is fun. This is fun stuff. Anyway, hope you all have a good week. And Countdown episode will be on Saturday. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.